Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, Moon Apogee Astrology. I'm your host, Shanna Cross, and today we are going to be talking about the solar eclipse that's upcoming in Libra. It is the first solar eclipse here in the sign of Libra since 9 years ago. And so this is a south node eclipse. This will be very close to the south node, so it will be an annular solar eclipse. It's only just a few degrees away, and yeah, let's jump in. So this eclipse particularly, south node eclipse especially, and especially in the sign of Libra, this could be a major letting go, right? Because new moons, solar eclipses, they are times of rest, times of moving into contemplation, times to not be busy in the world and all of that. So this is definitely something new that's either coming back into our awareness, right? With that south node, this could be themes or situations in relationships from the past that come back in from the past, right? To kind of point us in the direction that maybe we shouldn't be treading, right? So with the south node here in Libra, there is a theme of letting go, of moving on from, of moving away from certain ways of being in relationship or relating to other people. This is also a Venus ruled sign, so there could be definitely themes around this is a Venus ruled sign, and so you would want to look to Venus for more indications of what's going on here. But we have enough to cover with this solar eclipse before we get into the all signs forecast of specifically what we're going to be dealing with this solar eclipse. And so themes of letting go, themes of even things coming back in from the past to be reintegrated can be a theme with the south node. But because this is squaring Pluto as well, as you can see, it's definitely not going to feel good. This is not a feel good eclipse. This is not a, oh, let's just keep it on. This is more of a very deep, very powerful, very transformative eclipse, because we have the north node in Aries, which is asking us to be independent, which is asking us to be pioneering, which is asking us to go in our own direction, walking to the beat of our own drum, going forward in a way not without fear, because that's not, it's a cardinal sign, and so fear is a thing. The endocrine system is activated with this, but because it's asking us to go forth and be independent and take chances with our own thoughts, our own ideas, our own things that we want to do with the north node here. With Mars being in the sign of Scorpio, this is being very decisive and very specific with what it is that we want to cut out of our lives, because Mars is with the south node, to be able to move forward. The other thing that's going on here is Chiron is also with the north node for this eclipse, and Mercury is in opposition to this. But what's happening is that this direction that we want to go in, or that we are being led down, or that we're moving towards, is one that could be fraught with issues surrounding guilt, shame, vulnerability, old wounds, old insecurities, things that maybe we thought were fine and dandy, but now with the north node here causing kind of a very disruptive energy, and with Chiron here, and it's been transiting for a while, feelings of, insecurities around going in the direction that we want to go in, to be independent of another person, right? That's the north and south node in Aries and Libra. The south node in Libra means letting go of old relationships, things that no longer serve the highest good, walking away, all of those themes. And so with Mercury involved, especially in the opposition, this could definitely mean that there are words exchanged during this eclipse or around this eclipse that cause us to kind of feel guilt or shame or vulnerability, or we're not really sure how exactly what we're thinking, or why we're thinking the way we're thinking. That is a thing. But this square to Pluto, and especially because of how close the nodes are to squaring Pluto, Mars is still squaring Pluto via degree, It's out of sign, but it is by degree still squaring Pluto. And this eclipse is one that is very profound, very transformational, very intense. And the focal point is on Pluto, right? So this means that the cardinal signs, unfortunately, are going to get the more intense version of this eclipse. But it's going to be affecting all of us on some level because we all have cardinal placements in our chart, or at least cardinal houses. They occupy a house anyway, the cardinal signs. So this eclipse is not going to be a fun one. It's not going to be easy, but it will be transformational, and the end result would be burning down anything that no longer serves you, completely and utterly walking away from or shutting down relationships, situationships. This could have to do with financial things as well, and burning it all down and starting over. This could also be where secrets come to light around sometime around this eclipse when it comes to the corporatocracy or the big tech or the big business or big government associations as well. This eclipse, there could be some things that are coming to light for this. There could definitely be some intense realizations or things that are coming to light of nefarious means when it comes to people in positions of power and authority, and people that want to exert their own power and authority over others that are just trying to live their lives, right? So that is a theme as well. It's not all doom and gloom. We do have trine from Pluto to Uranus, or from Uranus to Pluto, however you want to say it, and then with Neptune and Pluto as well, there is a sextile. So there is support a little bit. Also, Saturn is also in support with Mars. Mars and Saturn are in trine, so these are positives that are happening, that are going on. The only thing is that Venus is also moving towards a nice trine with Jupiter, but it's not going to be the be-all, end-all, save-all. This, no matter what, people are going to need to let go of what no longer serves, whether or not that is a job, a relationship, a person, a place, a thing. It's going to be intense, and it's going to not feel good in the moment, but it will set us on a different path forward. And so that is what I have in general for the eclipse. It's definitely going to be an intense one, but we will get into all signs next. Okay, so for Aries and for Aries rising, this new moon eclipse is with the South Node in your 7th house. So there's definitely a relationship that you're letting go of. There is definitely a relationship that is going to be released and let go. This type of a relationship where it's going to be, you know, with that with that T-square to Pluto up in your 10th house, this could be a very public separation, or a public, you know, it could be divorce, but it could very well likely be separation, or walking away from a contract, a person, a business. Any contracts really are subject to being let go of, and you yourself could be feeling very uncomfortable about it because the North Node and Chiron are together in your 1st house. But you need to work on you, and you need to work on healing, right? Chiron ultimately asks us to kind of divest of our ego and heal through deep, very profound traumas that can happen in our lives. And so with this T-square to Pluto, this could definitely see real life careers being blown up, let go of, walked away from, all of those things. The transformative part of this is that who it is that you're known as and how you're known out in the world will change based on the letting go of, or even the reintegration of, some type of relationship or contract into your life. The other things that are going on is, you know, Uranus is in trine with Pluto. This could definitely be along the lines of money coming in, or money going out, right? Depending. Jupiter's here, so Jupiter could be bringing benefit. And Venus is in trine with this from Virgo in the 6th house. And the other thing that's going on is the opposition. So there could definitely be some themes and situations around having to really work on relationships and work on the people that are in your life because you're not able to rest the way you want to rest. With Saturn here, Saturn is restricting this area of your life, which is the 12th house, which has to do with rest. And Venus is in the 6th house of your daily routines, your daily life, the things that you do every single day. And so there's definitely associations with working through a partnership or working with someone on letting go of a partner or a partnership. And that is definitely something that could be going on for you. So for, Taurus, and for Taurus rising, this eclipse is happening in your 6th house of work and daily routines. And so there is definitely something very powerful, very transformative that's happening in terms of how you see the world around you, how you see yourself either with religion or with some type of dogmatic belief system. That's changing, right? So there is definitely big transformation that's happening in terms of your worldview, how you view the world, how you see the world around you, God, universe, all of that, depending. This could even be a very transformative educational pursuit that you're going through. And it's asking you to release what it is that you're doing every single day, and in order to move out of the daily grind, the daily life, into more of that spiritual practice. With the North Node and Chiron here, there could be guilt, shame, vulnerability, or wounds around seeking spiritual practices, or around starting spiritual practices, or around moving more towards a retreat or something like that, right? This could definitely be that. With Pluto and Uranus in trine, this is from your 1st to your 9th. This could definitely be interesting news from abroad or from afar, or very powerful transformative information that comes in either through a teacher or through an institution of some kind, a learning institution of some kind, that is very transformative for you. With Venus in moving towards the trine with Jupiter in your 5th house, this could be really good in terms of fun, play, things like that, even children, things like that. With the opposition, though, to Saturn, this is definitely limiting your social sphere, your social network, who you're associating with by choice, and kind of pushing you more into the 5th house where Venus is, of fun, play, joy, things like that. This could even be taking a hobby for some of you and making full-time work out of it. That could very well be for some Taurus risings as well. So that is what I have for you. For Gemini and Gemini rising, this eclipse is happening in your 5th house of fun, play, joy, romance, you know, the hobbies, the things we love to do just because we love to do them. And this T-square is happening, you know, in your 11th house with your social networks, the people you associate with by choice. There could be a direction or a movement that you're going to, that the direction that you're being called to move to. It could even be something to do with your work because of certain things that are going on here. But it could be that there's guilt, shame, vulnerability, wounds, old traumas, old insecurities, even around friends or groups of people that you associate with, or even trying to have a different social status in the world. And this could have to do with your work and your daily life and your daily routines. And this T-square that's happening with Pluto in the 8th, this could be very transformative in terms of your your mental health and wellness and all of that. You know, Pluto here in the 8th house, this is definitely power struggles with other people. And because this is all happening in your 5th house, this could be, you know, if you are divorced or divorcing and you have children, there could definitely be power struggles around children and around things like that. That is a thing here. But ultimately, this could also be power struggles to do with your joint finances, or finances coming in from an outside source and things like that. And so there could be transformative things, or there could be an end to income coming in from an outside source, from a partner or a partnership that's happening. The other thing that's going on too is that Pluto is in trine with Uranus in your 12th house. There is kind of this sense with it hitting this particular spot in your chart of getting downloads and understanding what's going on a deep psychological level, and understanding what needs to change and why, and maybe getting some downloads and how you can go about doing that. It's not going to be fun, and it's not going to be all rainbows and sunshine, right? It's going to be very deep, very profound, and very intense because Pluto is involved here. But with Uranus in trine with this, there's a sense of knowing, a sense of understanding of things coming in, you know, through dreams or through hypnosis or through meditation even, that can help transform this power struggle in a different way, or a knowingness of what's going on. The other thing that's going on is Saturn is transiting your 10th house. So how it is that you're known, what you're doing out in the world, your public reputation is being limited in some way. Maybe even coming to a halt, right, with something. And there's things that need to be taken care of down in the 4th house with Venus here. And so there could be, you know, issues around career and home, around being creative in or not in your career, or creative hobbies that you want to do on the home front, or even creative things that you want to do to the home could be a thing here, and you're being diligent and meticulous about doing it. But the opposition here between Venus and Saturn could mean that there's a push-pull energy between your career and your home life as well. But this is a passing influence happening at the time of this eclipse, and it is ruled by Venus. There's definitely some themes around home, family, children, hobbies, and even work too, with this North Node, with the North Node being Aries and Mars being in the 6th house. So there's definitely some things going on here across the board for you. And then for Cancer and Cancer rising, this eclipse is happening in your 4th house. And so the opposition of Chiron and the North Node in your 10th house, there could be guilt, shame, vulnerability, wounds, you know, old things kind of coming up, or wanting to forge ahead in your career, in your public standing, and in your public reputation. But there's guilt, shame, vulnerability, awkwardness, kind of uncomfortable energy here, because this could be new energy with the North Node here. With this South Node eclipse happening in your 4th house, there's definitely something around home, family, property investments even, or a communication coming in about a family member even, or a communication coming in about a long-term partnership, or a partnership in general that needs to die, or that needs to be transformed in some way. Because this is a T-square to Pluto in your 7th house, there's definitely big transformations on the horizon when it comes to your relationships, who you're relating to, how you're relating to them, contracts, agreements, negotiations, things like that are going to be very particular and very intense coming up for you. With the North Node here in Aries, right, it's ruled by Mars. Mars is a very independent energy. Mars is actually located down in your 5th house at the time of this solar eclipse. And so this is taking a hobby. This could even be a career and a hobby combination kind of energy, where you're taking something that you're truly passionate about, something that lights you up, something that you just have this, you have to do it. That could be something that causes contention in relationships as well. The other thing that's going on is that Pluto and Uranus are in trine. So this could be, you know, positive influence when it comes to friends, social networks, people you associate with by choice, and changing up contracts or realigning yourself with someone in a, you know, in your friends group or in your social network, with different contracts. Like there's definitely something shocking and coming up here that have to do with this. Venus is in trine with Jupiter. And so this is a communication that could be coming in through a friend, or communication coming in by a friend, or you communicating something with a friend as well. The opposition, though, is happening with Saturn in your 9th house. So there could be limits or delays or restrictions placed on travel, on publishing, on what it is that you're wanting to do in terms of either teaching, publishing, travel even. There could even be like some type of communication at a distance that sparks something in you to change something, and this eclipse is bringing up all of this energy for that change, and that change in partnership even. That could be a thing here. But Saturn is definitely limiting that 9th house. And so if we go down to where Venus is in the 3rd house, this is writing, speaking, communicating. This is marketing, small business, things like that. And so you could even be moving either in with a friend, or you could be, so for some of you, or you could be moving counties, right? Moving maybe within the county that you live in, or the state that you live in, or moving kind of just a little ways away from where you live currently. There could be something along those lines. For Leo and for Leo rising, this solar eclipse is happening in your 3rd house of vehicles, communication, of writing, of speaking, of marketing, all of that, emails, text messages, phone calls, how you think, how you communicate with other people. And the T-square that's happening is, you know, the North Node is up in your 9th house of teaching, publishing, higher education, higher knowledge of, you know, I said publishing, but also, you know, travel, those worldview, even like how you see the world around you is also a thing here. There could be guilt, shame, vulnerability, awkwardness, uncomfortableness, old wounds, old traumas coming up around your worldview or around some type of belief system that you have, and this need to move forward even though it feels uncomfortable, because it's going to transform your everyday life, your everyday. There's something that needs to go away in terms of work, and your daily routines, and getting very clear and precise on your daily routines and what's going on here. Pluto is in trine with Uranus in your 10th house, and so this could definitely be a change in status in terms of how it is that you're known out in the world, who you're known as, what you're known as, who you're associating with in terms of career, right? Because this, you know, it is also a co-ruler of your 7th house. Saturn is the other one, and that's another one we want to talk about, because Saturn is limiting the finances coming in from an outside source, from a contract or an agreement. Saturn is limiting what is going on in terms of your partner's resources and what they're bringing in as well. And so what this could mean is that this opposition between Venus and Saturn at the time of this eclipse is seeing you go back into an old way of making money for yourself, or even partnering with someone that you used to partner with, you know, a time ago, to be able to make the resources that you need to make, because there's a limit on the finances that are coming in from an outside source. And so that could definitely be something that's showing up for you specifically. What else was there? Jupiter and Venus are in trine as well. So this is definitely working more towards making money based on what it is that you're known for. This could even be something that you're passionate about, right? Because Jupiter does rule the 5th house and it is transiting here. But Jupiter in general is helping protect your status, your career, your public standing, and your public reputation. But it's also over expanding on all the things that are happening here. So it could be causing more work, and Pluto being in the 6th house could be deeply transformative for you. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's what I have for you, Leo. So we're going to move on to Virgo. So for Virgos and for Virgo risings, this eclipse is happening in your 2nd house. So there is a focal point here to Pluto in the 5th. With the North Node and Chiron in the 8th house, there could be guilt, shame, vulnerability, old wounds, old traumas, old insecurities around joint finances and other people's money. There is a need to move more towards other people's money with the North Node here, and let go of a specific way of making money for yourself and relying on income coming in from an outside source. That is a thing here as well. But this eclipse itself happening in your 2nd house means that there's something that needs to be let go of in terms of your finances, how you make money in a specific way. And with the T-square happening to Pluto, This could even be power struggles between your money, my money, right? So my money, your money in terms of the second and the eighth house, and hobbies or children, right? Depending if you don't have children, this could be a hobby that you've made into your own business. And there's a power struggle over the finances that have to do with that business. There's also power struggles if you're someone that is going through a divorce currently. This could be power struggles over the children as well. With Saturn here in the 7th house, transiting the 7th house, you're either going to be very serious about your relationships with other people, or they're going to end and be kind of divested out of your life. So definitely something to pay attention to for Virgo and for Virgo rising. This could even be, I mean, for some of you, it could be that you're getting very serious and you're planning a wedding. And so your relationships feel more like work than they need to be right now, but that's how it's going to be. And there's something that you're not seeing in terms of, you know, finances and all of that. With Saturn in your 7th house, it is limiting and restricting the people that you are relating to. And that opposition to Venus in your 1st house, you yourself could be a little bit more indulgent right now when it comes to spending money and all of that. And so with Venus in the 1st house, right? But it's also helping to, it's helping to make you feel a little bit better about yourself and all of that. That is a thing too. And then the trine with Uranus to Pluto, that could be a supportive energy in terms of understanding the big picture. Maybe there's something that you didn't see before that is now, oh wow, I didn't see this. Now I understand how all the puzzle pieces fit together and I see the big picture of what's going on here. With Venus in trine with Jupiter from the 1st house to the 9th, this could be that there is, you know, there's definitely something going on here in terms of you yourself and your physical body, and maybe even someone at a distance, because this is also, Jupiter does represent your 7th house, and your 7th house is your 7th house ruler. And so there could be relationships at a distance, or maybe your partner is traveling in some way, shape, or form, and maybe you're having to foot the bill on this, right? Like that could be a thing too for some of you. And that's what I have for Virgo and for Virgo rising. So Libra and Libra rising, when it comes to Libras, this eclipse is happening in your 1st house. This is you letting go of an old way of being. This is you letting go and shedding kind of that first layer of who you are and who you were, or who you needed to be at one point to move into you know, relationship in a little bit of a different way. There could be vulnerability, guilt, shame, awkwardness, insecurities, old wounds, old, you know, traumas associated with relationships and relating to other people, or even partners and partnerships. And the T-square is happening with Pluto in your 4th house. So this could have to do with a property. This could have to do with place of living, dwelling, things like that. And so there could be things coming up from the past, especially surrounding finances and things like that, because Mars is transiting your 2nd house now. Some type of resource or some type of partnership that is being, you yourself could be letting go of an old partnership or something like that. There's also a thing here with Venus being your chart ruler, transiting the 12th house of self-sabotage, and kind of wanting to get away and get a respite from the daily responsibilities that seem too burdensome with Saturn transiting the 6th house. Work definitely is more work. And your health could be coming into question too with Saturn transiting the 6th house. But with Venus transiting the 12th house, there could be a need, a want, and a desire to go more towards rest and respite and be calm and go to a retreat in some type of center or something like that. With Uranus in trine with Pluto, this could definitely be bringing up the power struggles in a different way, to do with property, to do with home. And there's an understanding here of taking outside resources and using them towards maybe even to fix something that's going on the home front when it comes to, you know, the structural foundational level of the home as well, for some of you. But for most of you, this is going to be an eclipse of where you're letting go of a previous version of yourself in order to move forward, either with more integrity or with more of who you are and who you're becoming. in terms of, you know, letting go of an old version of yourself to be able to relate to people in a different way. That's what I have for Libra and Libra rising. For Scorpio and Scorpio rising, this eclipse is happening in your 12th house. And so this could definitely be a situation where there is self-sabotage going on. 12th house does have those associations. The South Node here could mean that an old way of kind of sabotaging yourself comes in from the past. But this could also be, you know, something that is you're not seeing yet, that's hidden, that's behind the scenes, things like that. And with that North Node in the 6th house with Chiron, there could be old guilt, old wounds, old shame, old vulnerabilities, old awkwardness, and, you know, uncomfortability happening in terms of your work and your daily routines and what you're doing every single day out in the world. There's a need to let go of rest and reprieve, right? Because that South Node is in the 12th, and there's a need to go back into like working every single day. With that T-square happening to Pluto in your 3rd house, this could have to do with communication and transforming how it is that you're communicating with people, how it is that you're teaching, how it is that you are writing, or how it is that you are, writing, speaking, communicating. This could have to do with vehicles and vehicular travel. If you are one of these people that likes to take vacations and drive everywhere, please be careful. And, you know, there is definitely some interesting things going on here in terms of Saturn in your 5th house. Fun is going to feel like work. It's going to kind of it's a buzzkill, right? Like Saturn in the 5th house is a big buzzkill when it comes to your fun, your joy, your play, you know, and so there could definitely be limits being placed on what you want to do for fun and for play. And with that opposition to Venus in the 11th house, this could have to do with maybe limiting what you're doing for fun and more moving into practical partnership with other people, because Venus is a planet of partnership and of, you know, interaction with other people. And so having it up here in the 11th house could mean that you yourself are being pushed more towards partnering with people that you align with on that level of practicality and all of that. Venus is in trine with Jupiter in your 7th house, so this could mean that there are contracts, agreements, and negotiations that are coming up on the table, and it's a positive, right? With Uranus in trine with Pluto, this could also mean a shocking communication coming through partnership as well, but it's not the end of the world. It's not like a hard square. This is a trine, and so it's something that's easily talked about and overcome. The only thing is, though, is that there's definitely a lot of issue going on here with this T-square to Pluto in the 3rd house of needing to transform how it is that you're communicating with other people, because it could come across as very intense. Because Pluto is a very intense planet in general, and I mean Scorpio too. You are a Scorpio, so Scorpios can be very intense. And with Mars here transiting your 1st house, you know, this is Mars in the 1st house. Mars rules your chart, so Mars transiting here helps to make you maybe a little bit stronger, but it could also, you know, heat things up, inflame things, and make things a little bit too hot to be of comfort. That is the thing there too. So that is what I have for Scorpio and Scorpio rising. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, this new moon eclipse is happening in your 11th house of friends, people that you associate with by choice, your network, the people that you want to be around, right? Even your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your YouTubes, you know, aligning yourself and talking to other people, especially. And so there is this T-square that's happening with the North Node in Chiron and this eclipse to Pluto in your 2nd house. So there's definitely something to do with finances that are like a transformative kind of energy, maybe even reintegrating something from the past that you, some type of network or some type of thing that you used, some type of people that you used to hang out with in the past, reintegrating that, reintegrating the old social network and transforming what it is that's going on in terms of your monetary situation. With the North Node in Chiron in the 5th house, this could be guilt, shame, vulnerability, wounds, shame, all of these things coming up in terms around your hobbies or the things that you love to do because you love to do them. This could also be power struggles to do with, you know, what brings you joy and what makes you happy, your social network and your finances. Like maybe there's a little bit of an energy here of partying a little too hard. That could be a thing. Or there could definitely be some things going on here in terms of wanting to be more independent in, you know, with your creativity, with your creativity and hobbies and things like that, and wanting to take it into, you know, be more bold in that direction. With Mars being in the 12th house, this could definitely cause, you know, this could definitely be some things going on here. But Mars does rule your 12th house, and so there's less, I wouldn't say intensity because Mars is squaring Pluto still, but there is support on the home front or from the home front with that trine to Saturn. The other thing too is Saturn is in your 4th house. It's kind of limiting and restricting being at home, or home life could feel more like work and like a burden versus what's going on up in the 10th house of, you know, associating with other people. With Venus transiting your 10th house, this could be, you know, working with other people in terms of your public career and public standing. This could even be not just working with people, but being known for your relationships with other people as well. And so there's this kind of tension energy going on between your 4th house and your 10th house of home and family and career and public standing. And so there's something that needs to be rebalanced here as well. And with Pluto and Uranus in trine, this is actually really nice in terms of your work and your finances. Your work could take a swing in one direction and help to transform what it is that you're doing with your finances as well. Jupiter and Venus are in trine as well from the 6th to the 10th, and so this could be good for your work and your money and your career and all of that as well. So this could be good for you. This eclipse isn't hitting you in a really hard way, except for that Pluto energy, that focal point on your finances and your resources, and there could be power struggles with your finances and your resources. But there are some supporting elements here with, you know, with Uranus and with Neptune in sextile as well and trine. So that's what I have for you. For Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this eclipse is happening in your 10th house of your career, your public standing, your public reputation, how it is that you're known out in the world, the legacy that you want to leave behind after, you know, you retire, and your legacy you want to leave behind for those that are left after you're gone. And so there could definitely be some powerful shifts in terms of letting go of something to do with career or public standing or public reputation, and wanting to move more into the home life or coming home to something. With Chiron here, there could be old guilt, old wounds, old shame, old vulnerabilities and awkwardness around being at home or wanting to work in the home or something like that. The focal point of this opposition between Chiron and the eclipse in Mercury, and the focal point being Pluto in the 1st, this means that you yourself are going to need to transform yourself because of everything that's going on in terms of your public reputation and your home life. The focal point is on you, and this can be very transformational. You can utilize self-expression, you can utilize, you know, fun, play, joy, things like that, because there is a trine to Uranus in your 5th house to Pluto, and this could mean that you are expressing yourself in a little bit of a different way, or it could mean that you're utilizing a hobby or something that you love to do just because you love to do it as a form of self-expression and maybe coping mechanism too. Could be a thing. With Saturn in your 3rd house, this could be limiting your communication. This could be limiting who you're communicating with or how you're communicating, or even going about your business in your daily life with, you know, your vehicular travel. Maybe you're down a vehicle or something like that and you're kind of stuck. With Venus in the 9th house, there is that opposition between 3 and 9, but with Saturn limiting your third, you're going to want to move automatically to the ninth house of, you know, how you see the world, how you see, you know, your viewpoints on the world, God, the universe, your dogmatic belief system, and all of that. But with Venus here specifically, you know, Venus does represent your 10th house. And so maybe there's some type of education that you want to go back to, that you need to go back to, that has to do with your career and your public standing and your public reputation. That could be a thing here for you as well. And then we do have Aquarius and Aquarius rising. This new moon eclipse is happening in your 9th house. So an old belief system or an old way of thinking or an old, even religion can be a thing here with the 9th house specifically. There's letting go of something here. There's letting go of an old viewpoint or an old way of looking at the world around you, or even an old way of being or moving through the world in terms of your belief systems and how you believe, what you believe to be right, true, and just with the world around you. There is more of a focal point on Pluto with the opposition, you know, between the sun and this eclipse and Mercury to the North Node in your 3rd house of your community and what you're doing in community and how you're relating to the people in your immediate vicinity. This could have to do with siblings. This could have to do with neighbors and the neighborhood in which you live. With Chiron here, there's guilt, shame, vulnerability, wounds, things kind of coming up in terms of how it is that you're communicating and what you're communicating to others. With this focal point on Pluto in your 12th house, this could be a focal point, you know, to transform what it is that is going on. Maybe even letting go of an old trauma or an old wound or old baggage that has been kind of weighing down your unconscious for a long period of time. This could definitely be something that's happening here. With Uranus in trine with Pluto from the 4th to the 12th, this could mean that there's some disruption or some kind of something that's going on the home front that is also causing kind of this transformation to do with what's going on behind the scenes, right? These are 2 hidden houses, and so there could definitely be some things that are going on there. This isn't necessarily like a negative. This is just, you know, you're able to see something happens on the home front while there's all this stuff going on in your 9th house of letting go of an old belief system. Something is happening here because this is also a co-ruler for you as an Aquarius rising. You could be doing something very disruptive on the home front, right? Like that self-sabotage kind of thing going on. But then you realize what's going on and you need to transform and transcend what's going on in terms of what you're doing behind the scenes and how you're kind of, you could be manipulative, or even other people could be manipulating, right? Like that is a thing. With Saturn in the 2nd house, this could show up in one of a couple of different ways. Saturn in the 2nd house can either limit your finances, or it can make your focus so powerful on finances that you're focused and you're counting your pennies. It's kind of like a Scrooge energy, where it's like you're counting your pennies, you're counting your nickels and your dimes, and you're making sure you know where everything is at all times. Or this could be just straight up limiting your finances and you're not able to make the money that you want to make. And this opposition to Venus in the 8th house could mean that there could be money coming in from an outside source that you're going to have to rely on a little bit more, especially because Venus is a benefic energy. It is in the 8th house. It is in Virgo. So there could be stipulations and whatnot that have to do with money coming in from an outside source as well. Venus is in trine with Jupiter, so this could also have to do with home and property as well. That's also a thing. For some of you, this could be maybe even like a move, or like a move to a different country, or a move to a place that you have never been before and you're having to get a loan for it. For some of you, that could be a thing as well. For Pisces, let's go back here. For Pisces and for Pisces rising, this new moon eclipse is happening in your 8th house. And so even though it's a new moon and it's an eclipse, it's with the South Node. So there could be joint finances, resources, things like that, that are either going away, that are being cut out of your life in terms of, especially with Pluto, the square to Pluto in your 11th house of your a specific status that you're used to, or a specific kind of social status that you're used to could be cut out of your life due to finances being let go of in terms of joint finances, or finances coming in from an outside source, whether or not this is your partner's resources, or whether or not this is like money coming in from like a contract of some kind. There's, with Chiron and the North Node transiting your second house, there's guilt, shame, vulnerability, wounds, traumas, insecurities around you making your own money. Even though you want to go in that direction, you want to let go of relying on other people, because maybe that's where the power struggle is coming from. Having to rely on someone else for finances, or having to rely on money coming in from an outside source. You want to go towards, you know, working for your own money, but because Chiron is there, it's causing issue with wanting to be independent, right? Because the second house is your money, your finances, how you make your money. And so there's a need and a want and a desire to move in that direction and to move away from relying on joint finances, but that can cause guilt, shame, vulnerability, things like that as well. You know, Venus is in the seventh house. Saturn is in the first, so you yourself could feel limited in some way, shape, or form, or feel as though you are not able to do the things that you want to do because, right, Saturn is a very limiting force. Maybe you feel beholden to other people as well. This could feel more like you need to be responsible for everyone and everything. Not necessarily the case, just what Saturn kind of does moving through the first house. The other thing that's going on is, you know, this opposition to Venus in the seventh house. This is happening, you know, with Venus here in the seventh house. There is a desire to connect with other people. Even though you yourself feel limited, you could want to connect with other people. And so there's a balance that needs to happen of being responsible for yourself, but also being responsible for other people as well. That is a thing. And with Uranus in trine with Pluto, there could be communications about a friend, or communication about, even for some of you, this could be the death of a friend. For others of you, this could be a communication about the severing of a friendship. Maybe there's a huge blow up or something like that. And then with Jupiter in trine with Venus, this could be a communication about money, right? This could be a good communication about money or finances, or a contract of some kind that comes in for you specifically. So that is what I have for you. And I hope that you all have a wonderful time. That's kind of sounds wrong, but I hope that it is. I hope that you're able to move through this. I hope you're able to transform whatever hardship or whatever thing is happening in your life in order for you to move to a better place, even if there is guilt or shame or vulnerability involved. So I hope to see you next time. Bye, everyone.